This segment is all about preparing your business to exit. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and this segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is Ray Croff. He's the CEO and president of Mobius Financial Advisors. Ray, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mark.
Hey, Ray, tell us a little bit about your work with business owners, and specifically what type of business owners do you specialize in helping?
Yeah, I've been in this business in the wealth management space for about 25 years. It was about 10 years ago that some things changed with my clients, and I got into the exit planning space, basically, because a lot of my clients are baby boomers and are looking to transition. And so that's about 60 or 70% of my practice now is working with business owners to help them prepare for that exit. The typical business owner that I work with, usually they're in their early 60s. They have sales anywhere from 5 million up to about 60 million. That's kind of my sweet spot there.
In that transition with your clients, running their businesses, they've been great at growth, but have they put much thought into the exit and the planning to exit? What have you found is their experience or their knowledge?
Not normally do they plan on it because they're so engaged in building their business. And these businesses, they've been building it for 15, 20, 25 years, and they expect to exit at some point in time. But they figure when that time comes, they're going to put a for sale sign out in the front, and there's going to be, buyers. What they don't know is the headwinds that they're going to be facing. But many of them, they know that time is going to come. They just don't have the time to deal with it, or they just feel like there's plenty of time, right, until it happens.
So as you mentioned, they don't know what they don't know, perhaps. What are the do they hold any myths or misconceptions that they're reading about that may have prevented them from proper exit planning?
Sure. Of course, they talk to their buddies at the country club or whatever. Their buddy sold and got a, outrageous multiple, right? They hear about the successful sales because if you had a successful sale, you talk about it. What they don't hear is the unsuccessful sales. Their buddy doesn't come to them and say, hey, I was planning on selling my business, but it's unsaleable, and so now I'm going to have to liquidate it. The reality is, of the businesses that go to market, only about 2 in 10 actually sell. And that number is actually going to even go lower because you have all these baby boomers transitioning in the next 5 to 10 years.
Wow. So this is not like selling a home, which I bet a lot of people think it's just that easy. Can you kind of tell us, because that's a shocking number, 2 out of 10 sell. What makes a business unsellable? What are those kind of key areas that you help them with?
Sure. When I work with business owners, what I try and get them to do is there's a paradigm shift on thinking how a potential buyer would look at your business. When it's your business and you're in the middle of it and it's successful, you're cash flowing great, who wouldn't want to buy this business? But Mark, if you are the business owner, or let's say I'm the business owner, and it's 100% dependent on me. I write all the checks, I have all the relationships, I'm the head salesperson, those type of things. And when you buy my business, I leave as well. In your mind, you're thinking, that's highly risky. There's no way I would buy a business that's 100% dependent on the owner or the founder. Or it might be something an overdependence on 2 or 3 or 4 vendors for supplies or customers. I've got had a client that had about 70% of their sales with 2 clients, very large clients. And they bragged about it. It was a badge of honor. Yes, we sell X amount to these clients. Well, that is highly risky if I'm going to buy your business. Because as soon as, the ink is dry, there is no loyalty to that business, right? Not to me, for sure. I don't have the contacts, but they can pull the plug at any moment. And The buyer is buying the future, not the past. We use the financials to determine what this business did in the past, but it's the future I'm buying.
Great insight. What about the economy or the market today, post-pandemic? What's the climate been like? Have you seen any major shifts in how businesses are selling?
Yeah, so there was a lot of activity pre-pandemic, and of course, during the pandemic, of course, things just shut down basically. People that were planning on selling just pulled the plug, not good time, because many of them were affected by the pandemic, and yet there was a lot of them that benefit from the pandemic. So coming out of the pandemic, these business owners that were delaying that sale were ready to sell. So we had a lot of activity. Unfortunately, a lot more activity, which brings it to more of a buyer's market. There were just not enough buyers for what's for sale because many of them were just tired of everything. The pandemic, and before that, 2001, 1987, these business owners had been through these things all these years, and the pandemic was just kind of the last straw. I want to sell right now. Well, so they were in the mix with all the other buyers, so it made it for a buyer's market. And then interest rates. Interest rates started just climbing. We've seen SBA loans go from 6.25% to 10%, right? And so that brings down the price as well, the interest rates.
Right on. Ray, what inspired you to get into this field and specifically help business owners with their exit planning? How did you get started in the field?
One specific client, he called me one day and said, Ray, I need to talk to you. We met at IHOP, and he told me, Ray, I've got to sell my business. Can you help me? And I said, first of all, why do you want to sell your business? It's a great business. And he said, Ray, I have to. My wife's ill, and we're going to be making monthly trips up to Cleveland, to the Cleveland Clinic, and I got to sell my business. Can you help me? And so I said, I'll see what I can do. I wasn't an exit planner at the time. So on the way drive back to the office, I thought, been my client for 15 years. I had the same CPA, same attorney, very loyal, great client, the perfect one. He called for an annual review. He says, yeah, sure. And at the most important time of his life financially, none of us could help him. So what I did is I did what all great advisors do. I went back and Googled business broker, right? So I Googled business broker. He came in about 3 months later. He came back and said, this business is not sellable. And I said, you're crazy. Get out of my office. You don't know what you're talking about. And ushered him off. So I found somebody else. She said the same thing. And I thought, okay, there's something to this. So I took her to lunch, and she just started going down the list. High dependency on the owner and just all these different things. And she looked at me, she said, would you buy this business? And I said, no. But it was a great business. It was a great cash flowing business. It's just had lots of issues that a buyer would find highly risky. So it was that moment that I said, I need to educate myself on this space, on exit planning, because when I was doing financial plans, I'd say, hey, Mark, what's your business worth? You would say 5 million. I key it in, index for inflation, and off to the races. You're going to be fine in 10 years when you're ready to sell. Little did I know that only 2 in 10 sell. So I had a panic attack thinking 80% of my financial plans are going to fail. 80%. And literally, I had heart palpitations thinking of that. And so I started doing my research, got certified, and just started calling all these business owner clients of mine and said, hey, we need to revisit this. So that was the moment. One client.
Terrific insight. Ray, before I ask you my last question, in regards to exit planning for a business owner, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you think is important to share with business owners?
Well, I think business owners, many of them think I'm 5, I'm 10, or 20 years down the road, right? You should think about that exit now. It doesn't matter because, number one, the same things you would do to prepare for an exit are the same things you should do in your business anyhow. right? In order to become more efficient, more profitable, more valuable, more sellable. And upwards of almost 50% of exits happen not by choice, right? There's an like my client, he wasn't planning on retiring for probably 10 or 15 years. It was an illness. So it can be an illness, it can be a divorce, it could be a disagreement with a partner, whatever. So be prepared. You might have an unsolicited offer, and if it may come at the right time, and if you're prepared, you're going to get highest value.
It sounds like there's never a bad time to do this because it's even just good business development.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Ray, for business owners listening now who would love to speak with you and perhaps get your help, how can they find you and connect with you?
The easiest way is to probably text me 940-391-5336. My website is Mobius FA, MOBIUSAFA.com. But if you can't spell that or whatever, just text me.
Ray, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
That was Ray Croff, CEO and president of Mobius Financial Advisors, and this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.